welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we're taking a look at the Schiefer Bahn, which means Slate Railway in English, and that's the railway line between Balingen and Schömberg, used to continue on to Rottweil, but nowadays only the part between Balingen and Schömberg is in use, and here on the map you can see our route today. We're starting in Balingen, taking a look at the city center, as I had a longer waiting time between my trains as I was planning with potential delays and cancellation of trains. Of course, as our train today is not running every hour, there are just a handful of trains on this day, because my train is a touristic train. It's only running on Sundays from spring to autumn, otherwise there are no passenger trains on this railway line anymore. Our train today is a Lint 54 of the SWEG. It is, as you can see, in the bewegt design, so therefore there are no surprises. Inside of the train it's a typical design of bewegt. We have quite acceptable seats, with a few features like tables and power sockets at the base of 4 and folding tables at the airline style seats. Tables are quite big and sturdy. There are movable armrests. The seat pitch is pretty tight, but it's quite okay for a regional train like this. So the interior is quite good. I would say it's one of the more comfortable trains of bewegt. As a few of my earlier train plans in Baden-Württemberg have been destroyed by cancellations and huge delays, this time I decided to arrive in Balingen earlier than I had to. As you can see, there are also some connecting trains with a short transfer time, so we're now following the main line in the direction of Sigmaringen for a couple of kilometers before leaving the railway line and continue on our own railway line in the direction of Schömberg. After leaving Balingen, we're stopping in Endingen, Erzingen, Dottenhausen, Dormettingen, Schömberg, Stausee, and then we're reaching the end of the line in Schömberg. As I've mentioned, the railway line is called the Slate Railway, and that's based on rich oil shale deposits that you can find here in this area. And in German, the name for oil shale could actually be translated word by word to oil slate. And that's why it's called the Slate Railway. Those oil shale deposits are also part of the darkest hours of this railway line, as there were several concentration camps, as during the Operation Desert it was attempted to build a shale oil industrial production complex. Later on, the demand of the railway line declined, and in 1971 the last train run on this railway line, the part between Schömberg and Rottweil, was then closed and dismantled, but the part between Schömberg and Balingen survived. And since 2002 there are trains again, but only those so-called Radwander shuttles. Those are trains mainly intended for hiking and biking, and they only run on Sundays in the summer season between May and October. Here we are reaching the station Schömberg Stausee, and just after the station we are crossing the most interesting building, the Schlichem Viaduct, which we can see here. And shortly after we are reaching Schömberg, which is now the end of the line. There the train only has a couple of minutes of time to change direction and head back to Balingen. I just quickly left the train to take some pictures, and then I headed back on board, and I'm taking the same train back to Balingen. Of course, that's not the intention behind this train. Of course, the intention is to stay in the cities and explore a bit of the cities. There's even a website where you can find a detailed plan on what you can do during your stay. For example, there is a fossils museum in Dottenhausen, or the so-called Slate experience in Dormettingen. And of course you can visit the reservoir lake in Schömberg. There you can rent some small boats, you can find a miniature village, or you can take a nice walk in the nature. But as I wanted to take a look at a second railway line here in this area that only sees trains on Sundays in the summer season, I had to take this train back to Balingen now. So now we can enjoy the beautiful landscape once again, as we are now getting closer to Dottenhausen, Dormettingen, and there we're going through the production site of the company Holcim. There's something quite interesting, as there is a carry nearby. They have a cable car between this production site and the carry. Here we can see the station in the background, and if you take a close look you can also see the cable car itself. It's not the cable car for passengers, it's a freight cable car. so also something quite rare and interesting to see. This cable car is going up to the mountain you can see here in the background. So at the moment there are only trains on Sundays, but there have been some plans to reactivate the railway line completely and to even reconstruct the closed railway line to Rottweil. There have been some analyzations made, and they came to the conclusion that it would actually be economically useful to reactivate the railway line to Rottweil. The chances were quite high that we're gonna have direct trains between Balingen and Rottweil in the future, but unfortunately the city of Rottweil voted against the reactivation, as they were afraid that it's gonna be too expensive, and that unfortunately ended the possibilities to reactivate the railway line. So at the moment there will only be those trains here on Sundays. But now it's time to listen to the sound of the Lint 54 of the SWEG. We've now left the station of Balingen-Endingen, and here we are reaching the so-called Hohenzollern Railway, which is heading in the direction of Sigmaringen. That's the main line, and that means that we're now slowly approaching the city of Balingen again, where this train ride then comes to an end. We've reached the Hohenzollern Railway, but we are just going parallel to it. There's no connection yet between those two railway lines. We're going past this big furniture store, and right behind it there's the station Balingen South, but there's only a platform on the other track, on the Hohenzollern Railway. There used to be a platform also on our track, but that's not existing anymore. So for us the next stop is at Balingen. There I then took a train to Hechingen, and there we will see the next interesting railway line in the next video. So that's it for this video. Here I'm leaving the Lint 54, and a nice train ride is coming to an end, and also this video is coming to an end. So I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see when the next one will be uploaded and the name of the song. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.